Gravity, relativity, not the same as the things. That what I'm talking about is the relative things that you can't get onto this. E equals MC squared, the E is silence. I'm a MC squared. You can't. Peace.
Peace.
Today we are sitting with the legendary innovator, originator, Grand Puba, Maxwell Doogie.
Peace, bro.
Peace, God.
Yeah. Okay, like you said, I'm the one and only too real to be a phony, the real McCoy, the idol maker, Grand Puba. All right. Known for many things. I started out in hip hop when I was like 12, 13 years old, listening to the forefathers, the ones who started rap before it even got on wax or anything, before the industry was even let into it, where you had to go out and perform, and people didn't know who you were or whatever. Your talent was just whatever it was, you know. So I learned from the beginning, the forefathers of rap, where I started. Like I said, I was 12, 13 years old. Me and my cousin, Doctor Who, my first cousin. But I was in other groups before that. Like you said, we talked about earlier, the Traybag MCs. I was with another group called King Creation. Then another group called Def Duet. Like my projects where I'm from, Hartley Houses in New Rochelle, I was like a main dude before I even got into the rap game. Like, you know, I was kind of known in my neighborhood, through Mount Vernon, through the Bronx, and I started developing a name for myself. And that's when a brother from my projects who was a boxer, he had a trainer. His name was Milton LaCroix. He trained at Gleason's Gym, Midtown 42nd Street. But he was training my OG, and he asked him, like, I want to start a record label. Do you know anybody who rap? And my brother Lamont Brickle, he said, yeah, I got my little homie from the projects, nicest dude you ever heard. And that's how I got introduced to Milton LaCroix and Rocky Buchanan, the guy who's the head of the Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx, New York. That we formed a group called Master of Ceremony. That was like my first group in the industry. We made our first record. It was called Crime. That was the first original Master of Ceremony record. It was on MLO Records, which was short for Milton LaCroix Records. And after that, Rocky Buchanan, his partner, linked up with a icon named Jazzy J from Zulu Nation. So they linked up, and then they started a new label called Strong City Records. And the first group on that label was Masters of Ceremony, me and my cousin. And like I said, our first record was Crime. Then we started doing an album. And we did a record called Sexy that got kind of big, and a record called Cracked Out. So then we got an independent deal through 4th and Broadway, and we started doing the album, the Master Ceremony album. And on the record Sexy, I brought in a brother by the name of Don Barron, like the first reggae hip-hop record to ever. It's around the same time as Boogie Down, you know, but this was a straight yard hip-hop record. Like, it was a real big record, especially on this region. Yeah. So that was the kickoff. Like I said, we was on 4th and Broadway. The album was doing well, you know, and today is noted as a classic. But I think during that time, it felt like it was like a tax write-off or something. But anyway,
you talking to the record label? It felt like that to you?
Yeah, 4th and Broadway felt like, you know, because we had the buzz, we had everything. That was we had the biggest record in New York. Not one record, but 2 records, 2 in the mix shows. So when the album came out, it just felt like they didn't do nothing. We didn't even shoot a video. We shot a video for Sexy, but we did that before we signed with 4th and Broadway. So we didn't get any help from the label. But anyway, that kind of dismantled, and I ran into this guy who used to work for Tommy Boy Records named Dante Ross. I ran into him in a club, and he asked me what was I doing, whatever. He said he wanted to sign me, and I was like, cool. He said, but wait a minute, I'm getting ready to have a new situation somewhere else. So when I leave Tommy Boy, I want to sign you, you know. And this is without no demo or nothing. He just wanted to sign me. So at that time, I'm producing Lord Jamar and Shaddad X at the time as individual artists, like they were solo artists. And I was shopping their stuff and all of that to different labels and everything.
This is after Master Ceremony?
After Master Ceremony.
Okay.
This is like 89.
Okay.
So what happened, I started shopping their music and nobody was really like, they didn't understand, they didn't see what I see. You know what I mean? So I told them, like, yo, look here, this guy over here wants to sign me. I got y'all. Let me get y'all in the game. Don't even worry about it because this guy want to sign me over here. And that ended up being Electra Records with Dante Ross, where I signed. So I told him, like, look, I got these two dudes. He was like, yeah, they okay, whatever. But, you know, you want to sign me? Sign them. So we formed as a group together to form Brand Nubian. But my whole sole purpose of that was just to keep my word and get them in the game. So a lot of people thought it was like a group, like, you know,
grew up together.
kind of like that. But that was my sole goal. You know, so when we separated and I went my ways, they didn't understand, like, I did what I had to do. I got them in the game. I made them legends off of one album, like 5 mics in the sauce. You know what I mean? I did what I, you know? So basically that's what it was, you know what I mean? And I went on to do my own solo thing and everything like that because I always wanted to do that. And that's where we go from 89 to 91 to 92. And then that's when the Mary, me and P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, we were cool. We were like friends before he got in the game with Groovy Lou, the brother he's with all the time. Like we're from the same area. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you about that, about New Rochelle and the Bronx and Yonkers. Like, how do you get there from Harlem?
New Rochelle is here. Mount Vernon is here. Yonkers is here. Now, the Bronx, the part of the Bronx that New Rochelle is connected to is the North Bronx.
Right.
That's like where all the Caribbean people live. Matter of fact, when I was born in New Rochelle, we were living in the Bronx. My mother just went in labor in New Rochelle, but we were living in the Bronx. And then eventually we moved to New Rochelle. But the North Side is basically like Co-op City, and like I said, the Caribbean side of the Bronx, 220th, Enumore, Gun Hill, that's the north side. When you get to Mount Vernon, it's kind of in the middle. Like it goes from the middle and a little bit to the west.
That's like, is that like a suburb?
That's a 2 train, 241st Street, that's the last stop is Mount Vernon. And like our train line would be the 5 train. New Rochelle is like the 5, like we take the 5, Mount Vernon, or we take the 2, but you have to go through Mount Vernon. But that's the middle and towards the west. Yonkers is the west side. That's the 1 train, Broadway. That's connected to Yonkers. So all 3 are connected to, like it's not, people think like when you say,
I thought they went north. Yeah, I thought they went further north. They go lateral.
It takes two minutes. You got Co-op City, then the next X is New Rochelle. Like it's like literally 2 minutes away. Like it's not no upstate or like how people think. It's all connected. You know, Yonkers, same thing. Like the train lines run from there to all the way wherever. You know what I mean? So it's not. So everything is connected. Like New Rochelle, like basically had hip hop in the early 70s before a lot of places downtown. Like the brother named Grand Mixer DXT. He worked with Herbie Hancock. He was the first DJ to get a Grammy. That's rocking it. He did the cuts on that.
Yeah. That's when they had the mannequins down.
Yep. But he was the one that brought hip hop to New Rochelle. In the 70s. Like it's people like, if you ask Raheem, he'll tell you like there was a lot of people like doing it in New Rochelle before they even formed the Breakout crew. And like DJ Breakout and Shot Rock and all of them, we were doing that. DST was one of the founders, especially up in that region, like the North Bronx and all that. And rightfully so. That's why he ended up with a Grammy for her, because he was way ahead of his time, basically.
And he heard the sound before everybody knew what was about to pop off.
His skills were advanced for that time. Like he was doing stuff where he definitely was a trendsetter, you know.
So what the story I've heard about hip hop and the origins is with Kool Herc and then Bambaataa, I guess, came in, but Kool Herc come from Jamaica, right?
Right, he's from Jamaica. But here's my thing about that, because people always ask me about that. That's how my brother Jamar got into different things.
Oh
like
yeah, with the yeah.
You can be from Jamaica, but it's a it's a Black American culture. Hip hop wasn't doing whatever they was doing in Jamaica. They were doing what we were doing as city kids in New York. Like that's a culture that was created, and then they say the Spanish people, they contributed, but hip hop was a foundational thing started by young Black youth in New York, basically. You know what I mean? Everybody else definitely participated. They participated, but the creation of it, it's the Soul Train, it's the James Brown, it's different elements that created that. And then one of the guys, Skylock guys from Jamaica, he even said it, like, we copied American music. We try to be like the Americans in Jamaica. Like, we used to listen to Fat Dominoes because all they had was American radio. So they would emulate themselves from American music, like all the great. And then he mentioned the story where he used to go to South Carolina to his family's house and spend the summer, and that's when he seen the jukebox. And and the disc jockeys on the radio, like how this is such and such and such and such from KUZ, you know what it be, come be free, like how he said that's where they got all the chanting from for Jamaica and all that. They imitated that. But he said when he seen the jukebox, that's when he went back to Jamaica and he created big speakers and systems, but he got the idea and the concept from America. Like, so they'll tell you, the Jamaicans will tell you, like, yo, we got that. We copied the Americans, like, you know what I mean? But they branched off to do their own thing and did the chat, and they had their own music. And I think that's important because, like, there's nothing wrong with having different cultures amongst us. Like, when we go to eat, what do you say? Yo, I'm going to give me some yard food. I'm going to give me some Jamaican food. Yo, I'm going to get Italian food. Yo, I'm going to get some Spanish food.
Right.
We're different cultures, but we're all melted together. So I don't really get into all those debates and all that.
I really wasn't even asking about the origin from the standpoint of like him being from Jamaica. I was really talking about from the Bronx being the origin of hip hop just in general, like the Bronx, because I remember hearing I forgot who it was, but like like I said, traditionally I've heard that the Bronx is the birthplace of hip hop, but then I heard somebody else like, nah, it was in Brooklyn, or nah, it started here. And then the whole Queensbridge and bridges over.
I don't get into none of that because if you can find videos from 1930 where somebody rhyming to the beat, videos of people breakdancing. It's a Black culture. To say it started, history repeats itself. So I wouldn't. You can't put but specifically with the two turntables and all that. Right. I would give that to the Bronx who created that genre, like,
And then you being so close to the Bronx, it was just a short. It wasn't even like that hard.
It's not even that. Like, my grandmother lived on, like I said, we lived on 220th before we moved to New Rochelle. But my grandmother lived on Pearsall. It's directly across the street from the McDonald's in the Gun Hill bowling alley. Like, my grandfather used to take me to the Wakefield movie theater to watch my karate flicks or whatever. My father would take me downtown because my father was in Harlem. He was on 156 in St. Nicholas. Okay. So I would travel back and forth. I would see different, it's so funny because kind of like how my kids are today is how I was coming up. And I had one son who wasn't from New Rochelle, but his mother went into labor in New Rochelle. So he was born in New Rochelle, but he didn't live in New Rochelle. And that's the same with me. So I actually have a physical seed that went through that same process. But it's all connected, like, you know what I mean? I went to school in Harlem, EOC. I went to school in New Rochelle, you know what I mean? I travel. I like to, wherever I go, I put a flag in the ground.
That's what's up.
I got that from my father. But, hip hop, basically, to me, it started, because they say it hurt, a lot of people say, Disco King Mario from Bronxdale. They saying they was the first ones bringing the stuff outside. And my partner, my homie from my projects who I grew up with, his brother was in the Black Spades. That was a big Bronx gang that really started the breakdance, the hip hop dancing, Spade Power. They used to sing when the James Brown record coming in. They say they the ones that's credited with starting the breakdancing. But my man's older brother, he was from the Gun Hill Projects, the 22nd Division, I think, Black Spade. And he used to get us and take us to the T Connection. Let us run around, and that's where all like the beginning rappers you see everything.
Right.
Like, so we was pretty much exposed to that, like, you know.
So now, because in that time, I guess you said you started around 12 or 13. I'm guessing that's like 78, 79?
It was more like, 70, 78.
Because I'm going back in my own childhood, remembering the movie Warriors, right? And then like Fort Apache, the Bronx. Like that was my image of the Bronx. You know what I mean? Or really New York. Really,
that was kind of almost like it was. They had all, especially the Bronx. I mean Brooklyn. There were gangs back then in the 70s, like, and that's what I said. That's where the hip hop derived from, the Black Spades, you know. But you had the Savage Nomads, the Savage Skulls, a bunch of different gangs, and like I'm not a historian on the gangs at that time, but I've spoken to people who participated. Like they had the Young Spades, and like I told you, my partner's older brother was a Spade, so then I had in my projects, I think, a couple of Savage Nomads. They had little songs and sayings, and, But yeah, I was a kid at that.
So it was like that then. Was they? I mean, not. I know they embellished it because they
did funky like that. It got.
But it was like.
There was some gangs.
Was it a dude like What was the dude? Can you dig at? Was it a dude like that?
Osiris?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was too young.
Okay.
I didn't know.
I was the older kids doing that.
I just knew that was some gang. I was too young for that.
That's what's up.
But I was kind of like the tail end as I'm becoming a teenager. That's when it kind of died out.
Right.
That's when hip hop came in.
Right.
So I didn't really see all the gang stuff,
And wasn't it now? And even from my hearing growing up as well, is that like hip hop was kind of, and I'm thinking about like Van Bada and people, but that was about a lot of the breakdance and all that came from. Even if you could look at B Street, where they was. They was
physically fighting, they would dance and battle, Yeah, that's, but like I said, that's what hip hop was created for, like to take away all that negative energy and make it positive. And it was for a certain time, but then,
now
once they got their hands on it,
back to the cycle again.
It's worth money, and they figured out how, like they always do, take whatever we create and drain it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like I said this the other day, like they just changed the frequency. Like it was about partying, cultural, having fun. Even the battles, it wasn't serious like where you're going to kill somebody,
right.
You know what I mean? But they changed the frequency and made it poison,
right.
You know what I mean? And making money off it while we killing ourselves.
Right.
Come on, that's a master plan.
Yeah. I mean, even with, and going back to that Master Ceremonies album, there was a song, I think it was Cracked Out,
right?
That you talked about, crack on that song, and there was another one with Aretha Franklin sample, Rocksteady, where, in that time, I guess that's 85, when the crack is really just starting to kind of hit.
Did it.
You know what I mean? It's really taking over, and then watching it, from standpoint of being young and then watching people get on it. I had a friend from high school who I remember just like he started out smoking woods. He started out smoking weed. Then he started smoking
putting
water,
coke in the weed and cigarettes, and as it goes from weed to putting coke in the weed and putting it in a coolie, is where you put coke in a Newport.
Okay.
And it went on from crack to weed. Woolies was cracking weed, and it just kept eventually just hitting the pipe. Like, I mean, I seen it. I have family. That's why we made that song, like, you know what I mean? Because that shit hit so fast and so hard. Like, it was just, it was bad, you know what I mean? So that's why we made the song Cracked Out. Like I said, our first record was Crime. But with Strong City, they said, oh, we love your records and everything, but make something party, like, we was too conscious, I guess. So then that's when we made Sexy. That's when I changed it up and made Sexy.
Yeah, I remember Sexy coming on. We used to watch The Box, and I would come home from school, and it was always on. Like, I think it was like in a BMW or something. Pulled up hey, little baby, you look sweet.
420.
Yeah, that was those.
Dapper Dan era.
Yeah.